For 100 years, U.S. submarines were strictly off limits to women, cramped, secretive, and designed by men for men. But in 2010, everything changed when the Navy opened submarine service to women, and only a few dozen broke through, squeezed into spaces never meant for them. How did these pioneers manage to shower, sleep, and eat underwater for months, with privacy at a premium and routine under constant strain? The answer rewrites everything you thought you knew about life beneath the waves, starting with the battle to step on board. For most of the 20th century, the U.S. Navy's submarine force operated as a closed world. Every submarine, from the earliest diesel boats to the nuclear giants prowling the oceans, carried only men. The reasons were both practical and cultural. Tight passageways, shared sleeping quarters, and communal bathrooms left no room for privacy. Tradition played its part. Submarines were seen as the Navy's most insular branch, defined by secrecy, technical skill, and a brotherhood forged in steel. Official policy reflected that status quo, with regulations stating plainly that crews would be male, no exceptions. By the early 2000s, this barrier stood out, even as women served in nearly every other part of the Navy, including surface warships and aviation. Submarine leaders cited the cost and complexity of retrofitting boats for privacy, but the debate was shifting. Growing demands for skilled personnel and pressure for equal opportunity brought the issue led to the highest levels of command. In April 2010, Secretary of the Navy Ray Mabus and Chief of Naval Operations Gary Rughead issued a formal announcement. The gender ban would end. A 30-day period allowed Congress to object, but no action came. The order stood. For the first time, women would be allowed to volunteer for submarine duty, not as an experiment, but as a permanent change to Navy policy. The plan began with officers. 24 women, nuclear-trained and supply specialists, were selected for intensive training. Their assignments were set for the largest boats in the fleet, the Ohio-class ballistic and guided missile submarines. These vessels, like USS Wyoming, USS Maine, USS Georgia, and USS Ohio, offered the most space and flexibility for early integration. The Navy's directive, OPNAV, Instruction 1300.17b, made it clear women would join the force without a separate chain of command, fully integrated into every department. By late 2011, the first female officers reported aboard. Their arrival was both historic and quietly practical. They stepped into roles as division officers, engineers, and supply officers, expected to perform to the same standard as every other submariner. The all-male era was over. The silent service, once defined by exclusion, now faced the challenge of building a new kind of crew, one that would have to adapt, not just in policy, but in daily life beneath the ocean. The submarine force stands apart in the Navy, not just for its mission, but for its size. It is an elite community. Out of more than 300,000 active duty sailors, only about 9,000 to 15,000 serve on submarines, a tight-knit group by any measure. The path to joining this world is steep. Candidates face psychological screening, technical exams, and must prove they can handle months in a steel tube sealed off from the world. Even among these select few, women remain rare. On a typical modern submarine with a crew of 130 to 150, there are usually only 20 to 30 women on board. This means that at any given time, women make up less than 1 in 5 of their shipmates, and often far fewer. The numbers make their presence all the more visible. In 2017, just 80 female officers and 50 enlisted women served across the entire submarine fleet. As new crews are formed and more boats open up, the Navy projects that by the end of 2024, more than 20 submarine crews will include female officers and at least 14 will have enlisted women. But these changes are still recent, and the reality on board remains that women are a small minority within an already elite community. When the first female officers arrived, the boats themselves were not yet built for them. Ohio-class submarines, the largest in the fleet, became the test bed for integration. The initial solution was practical and fast: rearrange existing bunks and staterooms, install curtains for privacy, and designate certain berthing areas for women. Female officers shared small staterooms with 2 or 3 bunks, while enlisted women were assigned to partitioned sections of crew berthing. Heads, the Navy's term for bathrooms, were time-shared, with a simple sign or a lock indicating when they were in use. There were no separate facilities, just the same cramped spaces divided by fabric or a closed door. The goal was to provide privacy without sacrificing the operational flow of the boat. These stopgap fixes were necessary, but they were never meant to be permanent. As more women joined, feedback from early crews made clear that trust and discipline mattered as much as curtains and locks. The first generation of female submariners learned to navigate not just the physical confines of the submarine, but the social boundaries as well. Their presence forced the Navy to rethink everything from rack assignments to daily routines, all within a space where every inch is accounted for. The result was a series of small but meaningful changes: curtains, rearranged bunks, and new berthing policies that allowed women to live and work alongside their male counterparts, even as the numbers remain small. Every submariner's world shrinks to a narrow bunk, barely 6 feet long and 2 feet wide, stacked 3 high, with only a thin curtain for privacy. These racks, as they are called, line the berthing compartments and officer staterooms, forming a wall of sleeping spaces that feel more like drawers than beds. Each rack offers just enough room to lie flat, with a small reading light and a shallow cubby for personal items, uniforms, a family photo, maybe a paperback squeezed under the mattress. For enlisted women, the Navy adapted existing layouts by grouping racks into partitioned areas, sometimes with a lockable door or an extra curtain to separate female berthing from the main crew. On early integrated boats, if there were not enough women to fill a compartment, empty bunks stayed unused to preserve privacy. Female officers shared compact staterooms, usually 2 or 3 to a room, with a door that could be locked from the inside. Staterooms were only slightly larger than the racks themselves, with just enough space to stand and change clothes. Even with these tweaks, the essentials never changed. The space was tight, the air recycled, and sleep came in short stretches between watches. Personal touches, a small fan, a favorite blanket, a string of photos, helped make each rack feel like home. But the sense of confinement was inescapable. For everyone on board, the rack was both sanctuary and limitation, a reminder that privacy is measured in inches, not feet, beneath the ocean. Life on a submarine is ruled by the clock, not the sun. Deep below the surface, there are no windows, no sunrise or sunset, just the steady glow of artificial lights and the hum of machinery. Every crew member, regardless of gender or rank, lives by the rhythm of watch rotations. For decades, submarines operated on an 18-hour cycle, 6 hours standing watch, 12 hours off, then repeat. This system kept the boat running, but it played havoc with the body's natural sense of day and night. Sleep came in odd stretches, and over time, the lack of sunlight blurred the line between morning and midnight. Fatigue was always close at hand. Recent years have seen a shift toward a 24-hour schedule, aligning more closely with natural circadian rhythms. Now, many submarines run 3 8-hour watches, giving sailors a routine that is easier on the mind and body. Still, the sense of timelessness remains. Days blend together in a world where clocks are the only reference point. Crew members learn to mark time by routines, meal calls, drills, and the cycle of standing watch. For women, the demands are identical. Each stands her post alongside male shipmates, whether in the control room, the engine spaces, or on sonar. Sometimes a woman is the only one of her gender on a watch section, carrying both the weight of duty and the quiet pressure of visibility. The absence of natural light, combined with shifting schedules, can make sleep elusive and moods unpredictable. Strict routines become a lifeline, helping everyone, men and women alike, manage the strain of living in perpetual night. The next challenge is water discipline, where every drop counts and even a shower is carefully measured. Fresh water on a submarine is measured in gallons, not abundance. Every drop is made on board, pulled from seawater by powerful distillers that hum quietly below deck. On an Ohio-class boat, that means about 1,100 gallons a day, enough for the crew to drink, cook, and clean, but never enough for long, hot showers. Water discipline is a matter of routine and respect. The classic submarine shower is a 2-minute drill. Step in, turn the water on just long enough to get wet, shut it off, lather up, then rinse quickly before the next person takes their turn. Low-flow shower heads keep consumption to a minimum, and every sailor, no matter their rank or gender, follows the same ritual. Showers are often limited to once a week during long patrols. The air is recycled, the humidity constant, and personal hygiene becomes a shared responsibility. For women, as for men, adapting to this system means planning ahead, choosing products that work with less water, learning to be efficient, and sometimes finding creative ways to stay fresh in a world where every gallon is precious. The rhythm of water use is as much a part of submarine culture as standing watch or sharing a meal. It is a small but constant reminder that beneath the ocean, nothing is wasted, and every habit is shaped by engineering limits. Inside a submarine, hygiene is more than comfort. It is a necessity for health. The air is recycled, the humidity is high, and every odor or germ lingers far longer than on land. Medical planning for female submariners begins before the boat leaves port. Supply officers and independent duty corpsmen stock the medical locker for weeks at sea, including antibiotics for urinary tract infections, treatments for yeast infections, and a full inventory of menstrual supplies. The risks are real. Limited showers and close quarters can increase the chance of infection, so Routines are strict and supplies are kept in reserve. Managing periods at sea is a matter of preparation and privacy. Many women choose menstrual suppression, using prescribed birth control to skip cycles during a patrol. For those who do not, pads, tampons, menstrual cups, and reusable underwear are carried in sufficient quantity. Used products are never flushed. They go into designated trash bins that are sealed and stored until the next offload. Heads or bathrooms have lockable doors for privacy, and senior women often mentor newcomers on practical routines for comfort and discretion. No special facilities are required beyond what is already on board, but the planning is meticulous. Every item must last for the full patrol, and every health concern is handled with the same professionalism as any technical problem. In this closed world, hygiene is a shared discipline, and the systems in place ensure that women can manage their health with dignity, even hundreds of feet below the surface. Laundry is a constant negotiation on a submarine. With just 1 or 2 washing machines serving a crew of over 130, every load is scheduled with precision. Each sailor rotates through their slot, sometimes waiting days to wash a uniform or a set of workout clothes. There are no separate machines for men or women. Everything from coveralls to undergarments cycles through the same overworked equipment. This scarcity shapes daily life, reinforcing the need to pack light and plan ahead. Clean clothes become a small but meaningful comfort in a world where space and resources are always limited. Food is one of the few daily routines that brings everyone together. Submariners are served 4 meals every 24 hours: breakfast, lunch, dinner, and midnight rations, all prepared in a galley, no bigger than a walk-in closet. A handful of culinary specialists cook for the entire crew, working around the clock to keep the mess deck stocked. Meals are more than just sustenance. They are a morale anchor. In the first weeks of a patrol, the menu features fresh fruit, vegetables, and real eggs. As time passes, the selection shifts to frozen, canned, and dried ingredients. But the effort to keep meals varied never stops. Special occasions, holidays, birthdays, even the halfway point of a patrol are marked with cakes or favorite dishes, planned months in advance and tucked away in storage until the right moment. Food logistics are a quiet feat of planning, and for many submariners, a good meal is the highlight of an otherwise routine day beneath the waves. Earning the silver dolphins is the defining moment for every submariner. It is not a formality. It is a test of knowledge, skill, and determination. Candidates must master every critical system on the boat, from propulsion to fire control. Then face a grueling oral board where senior crew members probe for weaknesses and demand precise answers. For Chief Culinary Specialist Dominique Saavedra, this process was even more intense. In August 2016, at Puget Sound Naval Shipyard, she became the first enlisted woman to qualify on submarines, pinning on her dolphins after months of relentless study and hands-on drills aboard USS Ohio and during deployments with USS Michigan. The qualification board did not go easy. Saavedra was questioned on everything from emergency procedures to the chemistry of water purification, and challenged to diagnose simulated failures in the galley and beyond. When she passed, it was not just a personal victory. It was proof that women could earn their place in the most demanding corners of the Navy. Saavedra later said that she had to prove herself technically first, and that gender came second to qualifying every system. That made her prouder of those dolphins than any other badge she had ever worn. Her achievement stands as a symbol of respect, not only from her shipmates, but from the entire submarine community. New submarines are being built with mixed gender crews in mind from the very first blueprint. On Block 5, Virginia-class and Columbia-class submarines, privacy and habitability are no longer afterthoughts or retrofits. They are engineered into the steel. Flexible berthing modules, lockable heads, and reconfigurable staterooms come standard, shaped by years of feedback from integrated crews. These boats include more solid doors instead of curtains, and modular partitions that can be adjusted as the crew's makeup changes. Ergonomics are reworked, so controls and equipment fit sailors of all sizes, reflecting the diversity of today's force. The Navy's roadmap calls for every new submarine to launch, ready for men and women to serve side by side, with no need for last-minute modifications. As more women enter the pipeline, the number of integrated crews grows each year, and upcoming boats will never know an all-male past. For the next generation of submariners, a mixed crew is not an exception. It is the standard built into the very bones of the boat. Today, women make up less than 10% of United States submarine crews, but their presence is reshaping how these elite teams operate in some of the world's most extreme conditions. As new submarines are launched already built for everyone, the boundaries of who belongs underwater are dissolving. The ocean is indifferent, and the Navy is changing. What happens below the surface changes what is possible above it. Thanks for watching.